This is Conscious Coffee, where you always have a seat at the table.
Is it?
Yeah, Archangel Gabriel. It's the angel that you call upon for divine wisdom and to help communicate your thoughts clearly. And
Wasn't Gabriel the dude that told Mary she was pregnant?
I don't know, but that's pretty on par with the communication.
Yeah.
Bearer of good and bad news.
One thing that I don't know about you is I don't know like what denomination you actually grew up under. Were you even conscious enough to know the difference between denominations? Because like your grandparents had you go to church, right?
Yeah. So I was raised, I was confirmed into the church it was the Methodist church.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Which my understanding, like looking back, it was a very, it wasn't a super strict, like, regiment of things to follow. It was, like, I remember, like, our church was always very open, accepting of, like, the LGBTQ community and stuff. It was never something that was, like, a taboo conversation or anything like that.
So it wasn't super strict.
No.
Did you get baptized?
I did.
You did get baptized?
Yes, I did.
You're going to heaven.
Yeah. I say.
Because that definitely.
That's definitely true. That's the only way you get to heaven is if you're baptized. And yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that about you. I never asked.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we just learned something new about each other, like right away at the first start of this. That's great.
Well, I think that I didn't tell you that I believed in God right away. I was just so excited to learn about other spirituality.
Yeah, you did. I think we touched on that you believed in God.
Yeah.
But you didn't tell me about your background in your church and your faith and things like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of something that was like a while down the road. But we did start talking about, I know pretty early we started talking about like my beliefs, which is like numerology and angel numbers. Like that was, we were heavy on the angel number thing.
Yeah, we did the number game.
Yeah,
we
like
walked down the street and we were looking at license plates.
yeah. Which is funny on a side note of that.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend, she like we'll be like hanging out and I'll be walking with her and I'm like, oh, 333 or oh, 1234, and she's like, oh, she's like, girl, how do you keep seeing these? She'd be like 817. I don't know. Yeah, so like a game. And fun fact, her kids go to a religious private school, which is also another example of how people can have different beliefs and still be friends and love each other and not judge each other or try to force their beliefs down other people's throats.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I actually bonded with her because I empathize with her religious deconstruction. Yeah. Because I went through a similar religious deconstruction experience where I was so in love with God. I was so in love with Jesus. I just wanted to be important to Jesus so very dearly. And then as time goes on, we get worn down because we're not given, like, I don't think that mainstream Christianity gives young adults and teenagers enough tools to get through life. I think they just go, oh, trust God, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I also think, to your point, that kind of leaves people in this endless search for trying to be good enough.
Yeah.
When you're already good enough. Like, we come from source, right? So we are already good enough. And that's where the authenticity comes in.
Or to translate that in Christian terms, we are all good enough. We all come from source. God created us in his image, rather. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So see, you saying God created us in his image, right? Like, that relates to, in my beliefs, in my spirituality, it's that us being source experiencing itself through itself, because you're saying we are created in his image. And so in what I believe in, that is to say we are a part of source, right? Like we come from source, which means we are source experiencing itself through itself, right?
Yeah, and so your interpretation of source is where I was reconstructing my own spirituality and actually took the time to have a personal relationship with God that wasn't dictated by other people.
Yes.
That's when I realized that God has to be infinite. So my interpretation of God felt so close to your explanation of source. So that's how we were able to bond a lot over spirituality.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just want to take it back to the number thing just for a second, because you actually healed a lot of number trauma for me with that angel number thing, because there's numerology that you were talking to me a lot about a couple years ago. In Christianity, there's Hebrew numerology, where every number in the Hebrew language has a deeper meaning too.
Yeah.
And when you look at them, they do correlate. There are a lot of correlations, but to a young person with young ears, I kind of subconsciously developed a fear for certain numbers, like the number 6.
Yeah, like
which
the 666
you showed me was my
thing
life path number.
Yeah.
The number 11, the number 9, like these numbers were very scary to me. And when I saw them, and I'm thinking, wow, 111, that's really not good. That's a bad number. We should avoid that aisle in Walmart, you know?
Yeah.
So it was actually really healing, and you helped me a lot with my religious deconstruction process, which was started long before I met you.
Yeah.
And my spiritual construction, because I would tell everyone, I'm building a personal relationship with God. I'm not Christian, but I love Jesus, I love God, but I'm not going to push that. So, yeah.
You know what that just made me think of too, which thank you for that. Like this is what I love about our friendship, is that like we've healed so much of because it wasn't even until you really that I actually had been able to identify that I had some pretty deep religious trauma. Do you remember when we had that talk? Because I wouldn't call it God. Like I had such a discomfort with calling source God, because I had been taught, and my experiences with other Christians or whatever, was that God was this thing that was the all-powerful, just almighty above you, until I had really realized, and then I felt like judged too, right? Because I wasn't it was like the living up to God's expectations. And that never sat well with me, especially because I am a part of the LGBTQ plus whatever community, and the shame and stuff and the stigmatism that has been implemented onto everybody since the beginning of time, that I had such a discomfort with calling it God because of the connotation that like Christianity and, what's like Lutheran and just all those things like Catholicism had put on it. So I was just always really uncomfortable with it, right? It wasn't until when I had met someone else who was like, okay, you're not Christian, but had a similar type of faith like structure, right? Yeah. And seeing that your views of God weren't that he's better or this, how do I want to say this? Like this thing that we're chasing outside of ourselves that is like this judgmental, like you're a sinner, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't until then that I'm like, no, not everybody views it that way. Like even if they have a religious background, not everybody views it as he's the almighty, like smiter who is going to tear down your life. You can't.
You can't. It's not realistic because God is so much more than judgment. Like he wouldn't put people on planet Earth going through certain struggles. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. I think that he puts us, I personally believe that God will allow certain challenges so that we rely on something bigger than ourselves. We have to rely on something bigger than ourselves.
Yes, we find our faith in the darkest moments, right? Because when you're at rock bottom, excuse me, what else do you have to lean on?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's when you go inward, right? Yeah. Like that, or outward, but it's inward. You know what I mean? Because that's your.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's honestly both. It's both. It's both. Like I would say it's the analogy is it's both a well and a spring, because you have to have water during droughts for the well, and then there's also, springs of life, but
the duality of life that I'm always talking about, right?
Absolutely.
Like the duality. You cannot experience complete and total light and have gratitude and love and respect for things that are love and light without knowing the polar opposite of that. Because if everything was all love and light all the time, we wouldn't know anything other than that. And I think that's where you lose like your appreciation and your actual like wisdom and understanding of things, the polarity and the duality,
It has to be both.
Yes.
It has to be.
Yes. And since God is all that is, right? He is, he, she, however anybody in this podcast wants to call it, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
You know what? That's another thing, just like side note, that I never really liked was that why does God have to be a he? Do you know what I'm saying? And not because that's the way, but it's like, why is it a he? Like, it's an all that is. You know what I mean? Because we all have our divine feminine and our divine masculine within us, right? And we've talked about this. Like, you see, like, in certain situations, like, we lean on one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I really believe that finding, like, the wholeness and finding God and source for me, one of the things on my journey was being able to integrate those two sides. Like to bring that wholeness within, because you can't experience like wholeness in your outer world without experiencing the wholeness within, which is something we've both also seen, right? Like,
you definitely can't have a strong relationship with source or God unless you have a strong, healthy relationship to yourself. You have to be right with yourself in order to be right with God.
Yes. I think that was actually a comment that I had put on TikTok or something.
Really?
We had that. Do you remember when we had someone that I made very uncomfortable with what I had said about us being like,
pull it up.
Oh yeah. Oh, my phone right in front of me. What do you mean, Darren? Yeah.
No, and that also goes for, I don't want to bring up relationships too much because that's not what we're talking about, but
bring up whatever you want.
That also goes with relationships. You really can't be right with yourself unless you are right with other people, and you can't be right with other people unless you're right with yourself. Like you were saying, you can't love other people until you learn how to love yourself completely. You can only love other people to the capacity that you can actually love yourself.
Yes, that exactly what you're saying. So it's just like you can only meet people as deep as you've met yourself, right? Which is like relating that to love. You know what I'm saying? And so even God, how can you have a full love for God or anything without having that love for yourself?
Yeah.
Because you are from source, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay, so this video, it was the video I posted about us being the creators of our own reality. Side note, check out the Gaia app because it's starting to be science-based that our energetic field does create our experiences. I just want to throw that out there. Shout out to Gaia. Anyway, so guys, see how we can laugh about this stuff and it's not a heavy, hateful conversation. This episode is to truly show you that two people can have different beliefs, but then starting out be different beliefs, what you think is different beliefs, but once you actually have a conversation with an open heart and open mind and an open ears, you find out it's all the same. It's all the same. It's just like, it's like the beach ball thing, right? You're looking at one side of the beach ball. You say, what color do you see? And you're like, I see yellow and red. And then I'm on the other side of it and I'm like, well, we're looking at the same beach ball, but I see blue and green. Yeah. Who's right? We're both right.
Both.
It's the perspective. You know what I mean? It's as long as your beach ball isn't impeding on other people's playroom on the beach. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
And it's giving that opportunity to be like, well, maybe I don't fully understand what you're saying, or maybe I don't believe what you're saying, but I'll give it thought, or maybe that's okay that you believe in something different. Because in my faith, only God can judge. So why am I passing judgment on somebody else for what they believe in, or who they want to marry, or what they want to drink or eat?
Exactly. And also, what does it matter to you? You know what I mean? Like, if it's not directly affecting your life, which 9 times out of 10, It's not.
Yeah.
Not to get political or anything like that, or like too far into those types of things, but like say being gay.
Yeah.
That is something that has been such a big controversy. Okay. What does it matter? Like,
Yeah.
don't look. Don't go to the gay bar. Don't go places where you know you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of being so hateful, keep your opinion to yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say on that. But anyway, so to this video, I had said we were the creators of our reality, right? Which you can also take that in a psychologically based way, meaning like our beliefs create our experiences and our beliefs shape our identity, right? Which is a direct reflection of what we experience in the world, right?
Yeah.
So all I had said was that we are the creators of our reality, and it's up to us to choose the life that we want to create.
Right.
It upset somebody. It said, and I'm
Stephanie's first hate comment.
I know, I was like, well, someone's uncomfy, so I must be doing something, right? And the comment was, no, we do not get that power. God is the Holy One, and we all need to get right with God. God is not the lie, and He will be coming for those who have Him. Yes, we have the power to change, but God is in control. You ask Father what He has for you, and He'll show you where He wants to go. Now, even in that comment that was, I wouldn't say like hateful, but it wasn't like super loving, because what's the first thing that we started with was no. That was what caught my attention. Her first thing was no, as if to tell me what I'm saying is not correct, which is fine. If you don't believe what I'm saying is correct, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. It's just my belief. You know what I mean? But that video helped a lot of people. That was like my first video where I actually got like real engagement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so in that, I mean, which honestly, if you want to go back to that comment, it doesn't really make much sense. And this person does contradict themselves quite a bit in the comments, okay, which is also fine. Brings me to the point of, if you don't know what you're talking about, stop talking about it, okay, for one. Just real fast on that. But also, the point here of her saying, no, we do not get that power. Here's something that has never sat well with me.
Yeah.
In some faiths, you are literally you're being taught to give all of your power to something outside of yourself. And I just don't buy that. Because what's the one thing, Sharon, that God gave us?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that.
I know, I could see it coming. Yeah.
God wants us to take, at least in my belief system,
Yeah.
God not only wants us, He requires us to take ownership for our own choices in our own life. And that is because He gave us free will. A lot of the problems and struggles that I had in my religious deconstruction in my late teens, early 20s was the fact that God gave not only me free will, but everybody free will. And
if you guys could see the way she just put that mic so much closer to her.
Give everybody free will. And I believe that He did that because He wanted us to rely on Him, because we should strive for something infinite and something bigger than ourselves. If we're always stuck in our heads all the time, then there's no humanity in humanity.
Ooh, love that. You guys hear that? Love that. Okay, yes.
Yeah. So I think that when you were saying being the creators of our own reality, you were taking ownership for your life.
Yes.
And that's free will.
Yes. Because if I'm making crappy choice after crappy choice, what kind of reality do I expect to create? There is no version of any of my beliefs, at least, where God's going to come in and save me because I made crappy choice after crappy choice. No matter what my purpose may be, I have the free will to turn the other cheek to that purpose and go down a way lesser value road, right? Like a lower, for what I believe, a lower vibrational and a lower frequency road, making the poor choices, right?
Right.
But I also believe, just let me throw this in here, that no matter how many crappy choices you make, you can always turn it around.
Yes.
But You have to have faith in something bigger than yourself to be able to do that, which is kind of what I think you're saying in a nutshell, right? Like in relation to what you're saying.
Yeah, the ability that we have to turn our lives around no matter what the situation is. And my faith, it would come in two flavors. It comes in the flavor of mercy, and it comes in the flavor of grace.
Well, grace is what popped into my head. See? Commonality again. This is my point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have that we have that ability to make choices that can turn our lives around. But are you really gonna blame God for your poopy life because of the choices that you made, the people you chose to hang out with, or you choose to continue hanging out with, or the places that you chose to go to and you are still choosing to go to?
Yes.
So you can't blame God for that. He gave you free will.
Exactly. But this is, this is where radical accountability comes in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like taking that actual accountability for ourselves and not blaming it on God for shitty circumstances. Because you know what? I've been in some really shitty circumstances, okay? Guess what? I got myself out of them.
Right.
Now, it's all about choices. And this is where I think people give up their power, because it's much easier to put it on someone else, put it on something, anyone else, than rather look at themselves and be like, God or no God, I made that choice.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, I believe in like, so in, you know, birth charts and life purposes and like in the ways of like life paths, right? Like I'm a life path 33. So that comes with some heftier challenges, right?
Right.
But it's about what we do with them. What choices are you going to make with, yes, your free will? What are you going to do?
Right.
You know, and once you know better, are you going to do better? Because of course we're going to fumble. We're going to make mistakes and, you know, all of those things, but it's on us, which is why we have to have a strong faith, right? Because we got to know that something higher will carry us through those dark times.
Yeah.
But we have to make the choices right along with God or source or whoever to do the things, right?
Because us as human beings, we do have an innate understanding of what is right. We do know what is a good decision and what is a bad decision, even in those moments where we don't know and we have to experiment and we got to decide, ooh, should I continue spending my day with this person? Should I continue being on that section of the internet? Or is this wrong? Like, we're gonna have to learn because that's what free will is. But it's that ability to tap into something bigger than ourselves for emotional stability, for peace, for love. It can't be replaced.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, so what is that? What do you think is the indicator? Like, we know, so yes, we turn to God, source, whatever, for guidance, right? Like, and to lean on in those times. But what is your indicator in those moments that you're not on the right path, or this person is not in alignment with your path that you're on?
I believe that emotions are our guide tool. If you're having a strong emotion that you can't control, or if you're feeling sad or angry or even a lot of joy, those are all indicators whether or not you're on your path. Where do emotions come from? Where does consciousness come from? That is your connection. So
which is what I would call intuition, right? Because that's our soul's guidance. But fun thing, our soul is a part of source, right? Where did it come from?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where the inner and outer worlds mesh, because yes, we have to lean on that source, that higher power, but it's got to come from within, because that guidance, your intuition will tell you every time. If you learn how to follow it and use the discernment of what's intuition, what is the actual fear, what's the, you know, what's God speaking to you, what is your fears and belief systems, like without you being able to really look at those things and go inward and discern those things for yourself, you're going to be lost. Yeah.
I think the problem people run into is when the brain, when you get more pleasure than the emotional pain or the physical pain is worth. Like, so you're making a decision where you're getting a dopamine spike in your brain, and it's almost worth the depression. Like, I'll just keep smoking weed. Well, I don't want to say smoking weed, because sometimes people, that is right for them. Sometimes it's not right for other people. But saying, for example, not everybody, saying, oh, I'll keep smoking weed because the high I get from marijuana is worth the depression. It's worth the loneliness. It's worth staying at home, sulking in my room without any friends. Like, if you're struggling with marijuana and it's causing that, I can imagine some people would say, no, the high is worth it because I feel great when I'm smoking weed or I'm drinking alcohol. So I think that's where people struggle, is where they don't listen to their emotional guidance system because it's worth the pain.
I understand.
They might not even notice it even.
Well, especially when we're so clouded by substances, especially alcohol, alcohol. Not judging anyone who drinks alcohol, because I definitely have a fair share of.
We're having a white claw each right now.
Just one though.
Just one.
Yeah. Because I'm also very firm.
But low carb.
I don't know. I think it's
2 grams carbohydrates in a white claw. That's keto friendly, guys. Under 40.
Yeah, we had the one drink together because I hit 1,000 views on my YouTube channel, which is so awesome. But I personally don't claim, it's not, I don't drink not because I think I'm an alcoholic or anything like that, but because I firmly believe that alcohol separates us from that inner guidance. It clouds that judgment. Obviously, I mean, you can see it as soon as people start drinking. Some people act like assholes and they just like don't even know like themselves from a hole in the ground. You know what I mean? Like they just have no idea. Yeah, they have no idea. But yeah, to your point, like it's our choice if we're going to continue to stay. I call it like staying asleep, right? Like not connecting with your consciousness and your higher source and things like that. Like, because that's what alcohol and weed, if not used appropriately, are very good numbing agents and keep you completely separate from that guidance.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, but I also understand, which this is another episode for another time, but why people make those choices, because sometimes, we have created a life that we have to run from, and we would rather run from than go through the period of time where we have to face the really hard shit and the really bad choices that we've made, and deal with it. And so that's how the vicious cycle of like addictions and things like that happen.
We do get into big trouble sometimes when we don't listen to our emotional guidance system and we don't check in with source. And one facet of source that has always came in clutch for me was love. And when you described God to me as the source of love, that was the moment where I was like, wow, I can open up to this person about my spiritual journey and my relationship with God because they already get it. They already know that is the source you go to when you are in a tight bind. It's infinite. So who else would you call for to be on your team but in infinity? Right.
Yes, the all that is, right? And it's the all knowing, all seeing, all everything. It is everything.
And that one facet of love, you recently, I'd say maybe not recently, but in the last year brought up to me this thought that love, that if we're not doing things with the intention of love, if we're not doing things from that place of source, and
with the purest of intentions.
The purest of intentions, it's going to fail. And recently I was reminded of this excerpt of the Bible that related so perfectly with everything you were saying. And
why don't you go ahead and read it?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, you were saying that if you aren't doing things with pure intentions, and if it's not coming from a place of love, it is destined to fail.
Yeah, which, just side note real fast, we're absolutely seeing that play out in America right now.
Right.
Because our country has been, not to go into politics, but just a very good example, right? That our country has been proven that it's been built on lies, power, money, greed, right? Brutality, essentially. And look what's happening. It's all coming to an end right now. I'm not saying the world is ending, but what I'm saying is the system built on that is being unearthed and it's ending. But continue.
That is the cycles, right? So this is 1 Corinthians 13:1. I'm reading from the Passion Translation because the King James Version, I feel like, can be quite harsh. It was written super long ago. And the Passion Translation is a different translation that goes back to the original Hebrew and retranslates it again in modern terms. Whereas other translations might, and I'm not very knowledgeable about this, so I might not be right, but other translations will just kind of translate off of King James. So King James was translated long ago, and then other translations kind of piggyback off of King James. Whereas the Passion Translation goes back to the original Hebrew and translates from the original Hebrew to modern times. And I'm sure there's other translations that do that. I just prefer the Passion. But this is 1 Corinthians 13. Open heart, open mind. You might want to listen to this as if it is a poem and not through your religious trauma years, you know?
Yes. And as always, don't judge. Or do, but stay out of the comments. Okay, go ahead.
You can judge, but I read this as a poem, and it can be fiction, nonfiction, whatever you want to get from it. It's just text that correlates with what Stephanie was saying about your intentions being made of love.
Yeah.
So this is 1 Corinthians 13. If I were to speak with eloquence in earth's many languages, and in the heavenly tongues of angels, yet I didn't express myself with love, my words would be reduced to a hollow sound of nothing more than a clanging cymbal. And if I were to have the gift of prophecy, with a profound understanding of God's hidden secrets, and if I possess unending supernatural knowledge, and if I had the greatest gift of faith that could move mountains, but have never learned to love, then I am nothing. And if I were to be so generous as to give away everything I own to feed the poor, and to offer my body to be burned as a martyr, without the pure motive of love, I would gain nothing of value. Love is large and incredibly patient. Love is gentle and consistently kind to all. It refuses to be jealous when blessing comes to someone else. Love does not brag about one's achievements nor inflate its own importance. Love does not traffic in shame and disrespect, nor selfishly seek its own honor. Love is not easily irritated or quick to take offense. Love joyfully celebrates honesty and finds no delight in what is wrong. Love is a safe place of shelter, for it never stops believing the best for others. Love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. Love never stops loving. It extends beyond the gift of prophecy, which eventually fades away. It is more enduring than tongues, which will one day fall silent. Love remains long after words of knowledge are forgotten. Our present knowledge and our prophecies are but partial, but when love's perfection arrives, the partial will fade away.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, when you said that, when you read that to me right before we started recording this, because I was listening with an open heart and an open mind, right? And even with me, like I am not someone who follows and reads the Bible as truth, because to me, I know that it's been rewritten and parts of it picked out and added in, and you know, to fit the conformity of what other people in positions of power have wanted us to believe, right? And that's just what I believe. You can disagree or not, you know. But I could absolutely see how that directly relates to pure intentions, right? Like it's saying you can be that person that goes to church every Sunday. You can be that person that does this, this, and this, and I donate to the church and I blah, 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 blah. But if you're not walking the walk, if you're not carrying God or source in all of your actions, thoughts, intentions throughout the day, it means nothing. Exactly. It's all lip service. You know what I'm saying? It's all a show, which we can see that, not to like dog on anybody, but you can see that in the pastors that are wearing all these blinged out, blah, 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 got these $1 million homes, but then the homeless man that they walk by and look at them and judge them and don't offer them maybe even $100 and you got millions sitting in your bank account.
Right.
That's not walking the walk. You know what I'm saying? Walking the walk is that person who only has $10 in their pocket, but they see someone struggling and is hungry and, hey, let me take some of this $10 and go buy you a piece of pizza with that. Yeah. That is embodying source and God's love. Right, from a pure heart and not just somebody who is trying to put on a show for views and clicks. Yeah, for the accolades. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, yeah. Or more donations to add to your bank account, or things like that. Like, yeah, absolutely. It all comes from love. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, because I really think that was beautiful, and people ideally would be able to sit and hear that and view it exactly how you said it. Yeah. It's poetry. That is the word of love. You can tell that was written from a place of love. Right. Yeah. You sharing that was from a place of love. And anything that comes from a place of love, that is God. That is source, because God is love. Right? Right. It's light. It's source is the source of love. Yes, exactly. The source of love. Exactly. I love that you have that relationship with source. Yeah. That you understand source is the creation and the creator of all things. Yes. Before it existed, after it existed, while it's existing, in a parallel reality, it never existed. It is everything. Yes. And which is that's to the point of truths, right? Mm-hmm. How can any of us be sure of what is truth and what isn't? Because there's so many truths. There's so many different facets to truth. And like one that, this one kind of was a hard hitting thing for me to really wrap my head around, because if source is all it is, it means source is darkness too. It's the dark and the light experiencing itself, like we said, but that's where the duality, and because you can't grow, right? You can't grow and evolve without, like we said in the beginning of this, the duality, the light and the dark, and how you had said that source allows things to be because he, it, they, we, whatever, wants us to experience those things and lean on source and find source, right? And if everything was just all good, we wouldn't, how would we know where to lean? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't need to lean on anything. Yeah, humanity would have no humanity. Yes. Yes. It's true. And I love that. And so on the note of that, because I'm sure, maybe I'm not sure, let me not assume, but we know that this podcast episode is going to make people uncomfortable, right? Like this is just a short clip I shared. TikTok made some people very uncomfortable, And so to bring that around, I just want to bring some psychology-based things into this to help people. Thank you. It's the coach thing. Gotta just keep it grounded too. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like, not to talk over you, but science is a deep love and connection with the universe and the creator of the universe. So I just personally, I do love science because it's a whole. I don't want to say business. What would you call it? It's a whole culture. Science is a whole culture about having a infinite thirst for knowledge, for creation, rooted in facts and research and proof. Like science brings proof to things. You know why things are the way they are. Yes, which is beautiful. It's beautiful. Yes, it is. Yes. Anyway. Yes. No, you're fine. Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you for that. But bringing it back around to our belief system, right? And I kind of touched on this earlier, like our beliefs create our reality, blah, 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 right? So over time, the beliefs stopped being just ideas, right? And these beliefs all started as ideas presented to us, right? Or experiences that we formed a belief about through our lived experience. So
I see that.
yeah, so the brain interprets identity as safety and belonging, because when we know who we are, we know where we come from. Like, our brain operates on certainty. We want facts, right? Like, your brain it's wired on facts. That's it, right? And when what experiences you're having, what proof you have, which is how our experience is our reality, right? Because our reality is the proof that our brain is interpreting. Like, if you're in an unsafe environment, your brain's going to go into survival mode, and your body's going to kick into, okay, how can I, like, I'm in fight or flight mode. Like, how can I, and I'm constantly scanning for threats, right? Our brains evolved to protect anything tied to identity. So when we claim any sort of belief, like Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, any of it, paganism, we'll even throw that in there because love my paganism. Worshipping the earth, love that so much. Though I don't claim that either, because I don't like to label anything, because which I love about you very, very much. When someone hears a truth or a perspective that contradicts their belief, the brain often doesn't hear it as information. We hear it as your identity is being threatened. And then that activates the fight or flight response, which also leads to, not also, but then that leads to defensive,ness, anger, dismissal, shutting down. And there's a good example of that in that comment section. As soon as that video was posted, it was very quickly met with, no.
Right.
No, you're wrong. Right? And so that was a good example of her belief, or sorry, that person, whatever, her, doesn't matter, you don't know her name. So with her belief or her identity that she has connected to her, beliefs, that it was being threatened, And so that's where the divide comes from, I believe, is that we take this stuff and we internalize it as part of our identity, right? Which it is, and that's okay. But where we need to stop, and the power of the pause is what I say. Instead of reacting, pause and sit with it and listen and internalize it, question it. It makes sense why people get so angry, because you can't help the way your brain is wired to react a certain way when something contradicts your identity and your safe space and sense of belonging, right? But it doesn't mean that person is wrong. It just means that maybe we got a little growing to do, and we need to open up our mind and our hearts more, and that's where the bridge of the divide between humanity can be closed, I guess, like connected better.
Yeah. Can I be honest for a second?
Always.
When you posted that video, my religion or my religious heart did actually cease for a second. Yeah. It did actually go, what is she saying? Is she saying that we're our own gods? No, that's not what you're saying. You're not saying that you are the infinite source of love. Absolutely not. No, you're saying that Source expects us to take ownership for our own decisions and how we choose to spend our lives.
How we choose to show up.
Because Source isn't coming down from the sky and going, hey, you're going to be a doctor. Like, maybe for some people they do have that experience, but by and large, in my experience with my relationship with God, God's not like, hey, you're going to do this now. I've had signs that have deep mercy in being saved from decisions I've made and places that I chose to spend my love and my energy on that wasn't right.
Yeah.
So I've experienced deep mercy, but I've never had God come up to me and be like, hey, Sharon, you ever think about adopting a cat, Yeah. So, I can see why that woman got instantly offended.
Yeah.
Because it triggers something in your brain where you're like,
yes,
this person is saying they're God, and that's not what you were saying at all.
If she would have just paused, re-listened, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe pull out even ChatGPT and just be like, hey, what could this person be trying to say right now? Right. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just instantly being triggered and letting that trigger overrun your emotions and then acting on that. Yeah. That's why I keep saying the power of the pause. Pause. Before we react, when we hear something that makes us uncomfortable, just pause and stop for a second. You know what I mean? And consider the other person's perspective. Again, back to the beach ball, right?
Right.
But that's the other beautiful thing about us as humans, right? And our free will. We get to choose what meaning life has.
Right.
Because think about it. We're all going to die, right? Like, this is all. So what does this actually mean? The only thing that life means is what the meaning that you give to it is, whether that's through your faith. And like what you said about God doesn't tell you go be a doctor.
Yeah.
No, but you have that innate pull in you that you want to help people heal. Whatever way you want to do that, as long as it comes from a good place of pure intentions,
Right.
go be a doctor, go be a coach, go be a holistic practitioner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go be a sound healer, go be a Reiki master. It doesn't matter as long as you're being authentic.
Go heal animals. Be a veterinarian.
Yeah, go heal animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mouse. Anyway, that's Mouse is my cat. No, it's okay. I love her so much. She's sleeping. I missed her all day. Anyway, but yeah, so there's our free will. Here's your innate abilities that are in your soul, right? You're good at, you're an artist. Well, what way do you want to express that art?
Right.
Do you want to do it on a podcast? Do you want to do it making clay molds? Do you want to do it making paintings? It doesn't matter.
Or an Excel spreadsheet.
Or an Excel spreadsheet.
That can be art.
Exactly. And but again, it's the meaning that we give it, you know, and just like our faith. But there was something that on a note here that I have that it's a good summation of everything. Excuse me, that I was trying to say. And it's sometimes the reason people resist truth isn't because it's wrong. It's because their nervous system thinks their identity is being threatened. So when we understand that, we can approach each other with compassion instead of judgment. And I think the world needs a whole lot more compassion and understanding and empathy right now, rather than judgment and pointing fingers and the hierarchy of, no, my truth is right. No, your truth is right. No, their truth is right. You know what I mean? Because the only way we're going to get anywhere is bridging that huge division that we have in humanity right now, because we all come from the same place. And that is truth. That is one truth that I don't really think people can much argue, is that we come from the same place. And it's kind of big-headed of any of us to think that our truth is better or bigger or more right and righteous than the other.
Right. That is a real deep love for the truth, Stephanie.
Hey man, only truths on this podcast.
You're showing me a couple places where I could find more love for truth. I have some opportunity to find love for truth, because that video, the way that it seized my heart for a second, that doesn't come from a place of a love for truth. It's almost like we have to go through life with a love for truth.
Yes.
When we have conversations with people who are different, with different backgrounds, different beliefs, we have to have a deep love for the truth.
Yes.
We have to be okay being wrong.
Yes. And it's not bad or wrong to be wrong. You know, it just means it's an opportunity for growth.
Right.
Which is why I love our friendship so much. Because there has been so much growth. Like, look, even in this almost hour conversation that we've got, I've grown from this. I've grown from this.
Absolutely.
You know, and I hope that everybody listening has been able to grow from this. But the key takeaway that I think Sharon and I can agree on, that we want everybody listening to get from this, is that the holding space for each other and our beliefs, and even that pause of questioning yourself of, why does this make me so uncomfortable? Why did that make my heart kind of seize up? And, you know, because I have those moments too. Like, when I see the people standing at the bus stops with their Bible pamphlets, instantly, like, I'm like, how dare you try and force your stuff on people? But they're not. They're standing there as an option. If you want to approach me, here's information that I have. You know what I'm saying? And so that's even me with my religious trauma that you've helped me see that I had, you know, a couple years ago, that there's just so much room for growth with that. You know, like, I was so quick to judge that. And I'm like, how dare you? No, how dare I? How dare I judge them and be like, how dare you try and force your beliefs down people's throats, when all they're doing is standing there with a thing with pamphlets that offers information. They didn't say anything to me. They were like, hey, come here. Hey, waving the pamphlet in my face, you know? They're just standing there, and they were talking with their friends that were also standing there with them. And I realized that's them standing in their truth.
Right.
No matter what. You know, and they're just offering it as a resource.
Truth is, the truth for you might not be the same truth for somebody else.
Exactly.
Because source might be expecting something a little different from someone else.
Yeah. I love that.
Diversity is part of it too.
I love that. That's along the key of duality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't all have to be the same race. Like, it's incredible. You can learn so much from the different ethnic backgrounds and like different, like, what kind of world, like, I love food. Like, what kind of world, how plain would that be if all we had was like American food? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. Like, without people being different, having different cultures and different experiences, like, how are we going to grow? You know?
I can't wait to pass on into eternity and see what real diversity looks like, because I'm sure that what we experience on planet Earth is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes. I love that.
There's got to be colors we haven't seen before, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, yeah. Which is, like, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. It could be interpreted as quite depressing, but I am very excited to know what eternity looks like.
Yeah, and I understand that, because I do look forward to the day that I get to be one with the universe again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And like to be
infinite.
And plus, like, life is not easy. You know, I'm not saying that in like a bad way. It's just like, you know, to be able to go back to our source of true belonging.
Yeah.
Because that's where we really belong. Instead of looking outside of ourselves and all these, you know, different people and things like that for that belonging. Like, we already belong.
Right.
You know, and we belong to ourselves and we belong to source. And I think that's incredible. You know?
Yes. We all come from the same place.
Yeah. Well, I think we should probably start wrapping this up because we're pushing on an hour. I can keep talking to you about this for hours.
I know.
This is literally what our friendship has been built on, you guys. Like, this is, and we have had these conversations continuously. And never once have we ever left a conversation being mad at each other, having hate for each other, judging each other. We have always left these conversations with more love, more understanding, and walking away with it with some sort of growth from it, you know? And
Absolutely.
so I really value that about you. And hashtag find a friend like what we got here, because I'm telling you guys, this is a real friendship, and I love this woman so much.
Even through car accidents, toxic relationships, parents passing away, moving, we always found a way to stay in touch through all that
and support each other.
Even if
we didn't agree with the choices the other was making,
absolutely,
we held space for each other and still loved each other through it, which is what unconditional love.
You're doing it to me right now, but with my decisions for how I want to try to manage my health goals.
Yeah.
You're supporting me, even though it's very clearly something I need to work on, you know?
Yeah, but we just hold the space for each other for the healing and the growth, you know? And that's what this is all about. I believe that is why we're here, to learn the understanding and compassion, and to bring everybody back to that place of love and light and understanding for everybody, you know?
I don't want to air out anything, but when you were in Troy, going through that thing, the way I interpreted it, because I knew that what you were going through was the worst, and I knew that it wasn't right in my heart.
Yeah.
But I saw it as, wow, she's going through the thick of it, and you're going to come back as stronger. You're going to come back with more knowledge and more wisdom, and I can't wait to meet that Stephanie. So I'm sticking it out through that, because I was so confident that it was all part of your journey, and that you were going to come out on the other side.
Yeah, and we saw, and thank you for that. And like, we saw, I mean, that the person I am today, that was a catalyst for that.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if I should specify. It wasn't drugs.
Oh no, it was really,
alcohol.
really toxic. Oh no, we're gonna get into it in later episodes. So you should know, like, I'm good with all my truths. So no, you don't ever have to worry about it. It's totally fine. Yeah. No, it was a very bad decision. I tried to bring parts of my old life into my new life that I had created, and it almost blew up. It almost did.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And you know what helped was absolutely having a friend like you, and having, and you know what came from that too? Because I had, on a note of searching for that belonging, right?
Right.
I had always been searching for that place that felt like home. to me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that was part of the experience, because when I left here, I missed it so much. I missed being here just so much, you know? And even when I went to Boston, like, because I thought that's what I wanted, like, I found a home here. And that was just another piece of me learning to be grateful for what I have, and to know what true connection, because you were one of the first, you were the first genuine friendship that was in the way that we have it. Okay. And that's not to disregard any of my other friends that are listening to this. It's, please know what I mean when I say this, but the growth that has come from this, and holding space, and just the unconditional love. Like, I've never experienced a friendship of this magnitude in the way that I have. And we have people don't know, but we have such an age gap between us, you know, like, was like 9 years?
9 years.
9 years, you know?
I've always gotten along with people.
Yeah, you're wise, way wise beyond your years. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, it's different. And
I definitely haven't had a friend this long, and I've never, ever opened up to somebody before you about my relationship with God outside of my church. I definitely would never tell someone, oh, yeah, I believe in something bigger than myself. I believe in Jesus. Let me talk to you about love. Like, I would never open up like that with somebody outside of my church before you.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm grateful that I get to be that I got to be that for you, you know? Because we've always talked about, you wanted someone to show up to your basketball games, you know? Like, you don't always show up to your basketball games, whether I understand them or that's what I hope everybody listening has in their life too, and finds, you know, so.
Someone who will show up to your basketball game.
That's right.
Whatever your basketball game is, if it's pottery on Tuesday, if it's that TV show that means the world to you and you feel like it's part of your identity, whatever it is, I hope you find someone who shows up like that.
Yeah. I love you, Sharon.
I love you too.
I love you so much. I love you. All right, everybody. I hope that you guys gained something from this experience and this conversation. I know it's a little longer, but it's really, it's worth listening to. So with that, I love you all so much, and I hope you all are well. Sharon, you want to say anything to anybody before we?
No, I love you so much.
That's right. It's all love here on Conscious Coffee, right? All right, everybody, we love you so much, and be well.